And then read, read, read. So this is my daughter, so I had to include her. She's actually 11 now, but she was little and cute. She's still cute, but she was little then. And I love that picture because she's, already valuing books. And reading is huge. So if you want to write, you need to read. And pretty much every author is going to tell you that. The more you read, the more voices you're going to hear from different authors, the different writing styles you're going to hear, and you'll be able to kind of incorporate that into your own writing style. The more vocabulary you're going to come across, you're going to learn new words, and it's just going to really make you a much richer writer. And for me, kind of one of the main reasons I write is because of this, the zone. So whatever you guys love to do, whether it's sports or writing or music or art or whatever it is that you guys love to do, hopefully you guys have had a point where you're kind of like in this zone where time flies, and once you've done whatever it is you're doing, it seems bigger than you. It's like better than you, and you're amazed with what you've done or what you've been a part of. I hope that you guys have felt that, like with sports or with whatever, but that's kind of one of the things that brings me back to writing, because writing is really tough. It's a lot of work, but getting this feeling of being a part of something bigger is a really rewarding thing. So to bring you guys back to my dream of being a writer kind of started in second grade and continued on throughout my life, and it was something like someday I'll do that someday. And I went on to college and became a librarian because I knew that's what I wanted to do. But I also still thought, someday I'm going to write. Someday I'll write. And then I had a friend who got sick, and she died of breast cancer a few years ago. And she and I had always talked about writing and becoming writers, and her dying kind of made me think, wow, I mean, I knew, but it really brings it home to you. I could die tomorrow, and I don't want to do that and not have done what I wanted to do with my life, if that makes sense. So that brought that home to me and made me realize I need to take a step toward this dream. Whatever I do with it, I need to at least try. And so that's kind of what got me back on the path for writing, and that was my dream. And I have a quote for you guys from Neil Gaiman. And Miss Bornea pulled some of his books that are up there by the screen, but he's an author and he also does comic books. He's a very cool, creative person, and this is a quote from him. He says, "Start telling the stories that only you can tell, because there will always be better writers than you, and there will always be smarter writers than you. There will always be people who are much better at doing this or doing that, but you are the only you." So what I want to leave you guys with today is I want you guys to just kind of think about what your dreams are and what your story is and what you're doing to honor yourself and get yourself to where you want to be with your dreams. Okay, so questions for me? It took me, so when I write, because I work at a school, I write mostly during the summers and then during school breaks when I have a chance. So I rough drafted it one summer and then spent another couple of school years, probably 3 years total, getting it to where I wanted it to be. Other questions?
What's the book about?
This book is about a girl named Anna who finds out that she's an angel, and she also meets this guy who is a demon, and her trying to kind of figure out, but he's not really evil. So it's really more about kind of good and evil and our stereotypes and what we expect people to be versus what they really are. But it's the devil angel love story thing too on the surface. Okay, other questions?
So what motivated you to write a sex story? Because like some people they have like something or someone or some random thing like give them that idea and then just motivates them to write and to keep like giving them ideas through the whole time. And like me personally, like I like writing, but like what motivates me is like, you know, you look around school and stuff like that, and like you write about what's going on.
Yeah.
And so like what I'm asking is, you know, what gave you the idea of writing this story?
So, well, I mean, my friend dying kind of spurred me to want to write. And then once I knew I wanted to write, what I did is, one of the things that I would advise you guys to do is kind of write what you know, write what you love reading, or, you know, if you love watching movies, write about that topic or whatever. So what I like to read is a lot of horror, paranormal, supernatural stuff. So I knew I wanted to write in that area. And then I had been to writing conferences where, and this isn't a creative answer at all, this is more like, do you want to sell your books? But in those conferences, they had said, you need to also look at where there are gaps in those areas. So I knew in paranormal books, vampires have been done to death, no pun intended, but there are tons of vampire books, right? So I wanted to think, you know, what other paranormal kinds of things could I do? And angels and demons kind of felt like a good fit for me. And then I was also able to kind of talk a little bit about stereotypes in there, because Dylan, the guy character who's a demon, is actually a good guy, but everybody kind of judges him to be this bad guy. So I was able to kind of do a few things with the story that I wanted to.
So it's kind of like an angel demon, but like a mystery type of book.
There is mystery to it because there's a murder that happens, and yeah. So does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah.
Other questions for me?
You say there's a message in your story, like a moral?
There is, and it's kind of tying in to what I was just talking about. Like, don't judge a book by its cover. Don't assume that you know someone based on anything, you know. So people, just because he's a demon, think he's a bad guy, and he's not. And just because she's an angel doesn't mean she's this perfect angel, you know. So it's more like get to know people, and don't just expect them to be the way you think they're going to be. Other questions? You guys okay?